Today we're going to be talking about pre-trips and post-trips. So on a pre-trip, first of all, you inspect the truck and trailer. So there's several things you do on a pre-trip, and inspecting my truck and trailer, and I like to do this every morning. You know, I've been driving for about 28 years with my CDL. Every morning on a pre-trip, I turn on my headlights and my hazard lights. I gotta check the lights. Top lights are working. My headlights, well, you can't see it now because it's daylight. And what I like to do on the bottom of the truck right here, check for oil puddle or water puddle. If you see any water puddle, you want to make sure you don't have any water leak coming from your motor or your radiator, or you might have an oil leak. So first thing you want to check is the oil filter and stuff like that. So we start from the front. So this is what I do every morning. I check my tire, bump my tire, look at my lug nuts, make sure I got all my lug nuts, nothing loose, and check any oil leak on the hub. Make sure my mirrors are good. Make sure my step right here is not loose. So I'm just kind of working back from the front to the back of my cab. Come over here to my leaf springs here. Make sure I don't have any broken leaf springs. Check my my tire again. Bump my tires. Or if you got a hammer, a mallet hammer, check my wheel for any loose lug nut and oil leak coming from your hub right here. And always check your rim right here for any cracks. And on my mud flap, I like to just kind of wiggle this, see if it's loose. And then on the fifth wheel, whenever you connect the fifth wheel here, this right here, the pin that goes into your Kingpin, every week you got to check it because they do come loose. So when they do come loose, you got this right here that could actually loosen it up, and you could tighten that up, and that'll tighten up your Kingpin. To the trailer, I always make sure that thing is, the claw right there is fully locked. If it's halfway, you're not locked in. So whenever I hook the truck to the trailer, that's the first thing I check. It's my fifth wheel, and then I go inside the truck and give it a little tug. The trip that we do on the truck, again over here on the leaf springs, you're checking for broken leaf springs. Now the trailer. So this is what I do on the trailer. When I'm walking, doing a little walk through the inspection, I'm checking my wells right here. All this right here. Make sure it's checking my frame right here. So what I do on the wheels here, I like to grease them once a week, do one pump on it by taking these off. But for right now, we're doing a pre-trip. I'll show you guys how to do that later. I like to just kick the tire, and if it feels too wobbly, that means you got a loose bearing. You got to tighten up your wheels here, your hub. Okay, so now we're checking, making sure you got all your lug nuts, kicking the tire, and you also want to look at your tire right here. So this one, I don't know, I'm gonna have to replace it eventually. It's looking a little bald. You're looking at your tire tread. You can still get away with this, maybe in probably another 2 months. So you want to also look at your leaf spring, all three of them, including that other one over there. Looking for any cracked leaf springs or any disconnected wires, because one time I had a disconnected wire and my brakes wasn't working on one of my wheels. right there, that's your equalizer. Once in a while you want to go under there and check the bottom of the equalizer. On these trailers you have 4 equalizers, and they do go bad if you start making U-turns with the full load. So try never to make a U-turn with the full load, because you start stressing the equalizers and then you crack them eventually. And Kaufman is known to do that. To our trailer here. Make sure all my lights are working. Make sure your license plate. Always check the little nuts and bolts on these license plate, because they do for somehow get loose. What I did on these locks right here on my ramps, I put a little washer, because I noticed on my other locks they were taking a beating by putting these big washers right here, and they seem to work for me. I highly recommend anybody to put a big washer and then you put the lock on it. Once in a while, like once a week or whenever you have a chance, check your mesh for any cracked welds on your mesh right here throughout your whole trailer. Just kind of walk through the whole trailer and check your cracks on the welds. And back to these tires on this side of the trailer, like I told you earlier, always check your leaf springs for broken leaf springs, and once in a while check your equalizer there. Kind of crawl under the equalizer and take a little flashlight and check for cracks on the equalizer, and check all your wiring going to your brake drums, because they, like I said earlier, I had one disconnected and it was all bad. So walking through this side of the trailer, just bump your tires, same thing like we did earlier. This one looks a little loose, so I'm going to check the bearing a little later this week. So just kind of kick it a little hard. Don't be afraid kicking it. And check your lug nuts. And pin right here, make sure you got it halfway or all the way in, because I lost one in the past. And another thing I like to do is grease my my grease fittings on these. So if you got a grease fitting there, I do that like once a week. There's a grease fitting there on the equalizer. There's another one over here. I like to grease that at least once a week. Do one pump on it. Okay. So now we're walking through almost to the front of the trailer. Always check your welds here, especially in this area right here. Close to the front of the trailer here. Once in a while, I want to check your spare tire. You got a good spare tire. Check your lug nuts right here. I like to keep mine locked, because you never know when you park it overnight or any of the places that you go to. These are really easy to steal, and they're pretty expensive. They're about $400, so let's try to keep these locked. So earlier we were talking about every other day when this thing gets really loose, the pin that goes into the Kingpin in your trailer, this right here, you have to tighten this up. So what I like to do, loosen it up, hit this all the way in. Always got to make sure this pin right here is facing down. So I'm going to loosen this up. Take a crescent wrench and loosen it up. Loosen this part up first. It's pretty tight. So yeah, sometimes you got to put a little bit of pressure. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to loosen up the outer one. See how that got loose? Okay. Hit the pin all the way in, and now I'm going to tighten up the outer nut. I'll make sure the inside is loose. Take a crescent wrench, tighten it up. What I like to do every morning on a pre-trip inspection on the trailer, always check the pin. So that pretty much does it for the inspection of a truck and trailer pre-trip. When you pick it up a load, always bump your tires, do an inspection, walk through, do a quick walkthrough, and bump the tires and check your pin. Don't want to lose a car. So thank you for watching, and I hope this video will help a lot of people out there, a lot of car haulers, on the pre-trip inspection of a truck and trailer. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Peace.